Good night. It's Thursday.
Turn up Thursday.
It is Turn Up Thursday. We are here on our new night, which is actually originally my old night. When I started this show 3 years ago, I actually had it on a Thursday, moved it to a Tuesday, and now I just think Thursday, just like Twin said, it's like our turn up night. So I think Thursday's much better. We can do a little bit of after dark session here. But yes, I'm happy that we're here. Happy it's Thursday. How's your week been? Because mine's, boy.
The week has been pretty good. Busy week at work, so that's good, but productive. Um, but that's pretty much it. Nothing. The weather is cool here in Georgia. Sending the prayers out to the people in Florida, deal with the hurricanes, getting hit with the left, getting hit with the right, but prayers for them as well.
Did they have two hurricanes? I haven't been following a lot. Did they have two hurricanes back to back?
Yeah.
Oh, that is awful. I know it had hit North Carolina a couple of weeks ago. My sister's in North Carolina, and luckily she didn't, her house didn't get any issues, nor did her businesses. She's got two businesses. So luckily they were good, but I know there was a host of people who did not fare so well. So I join you with saying prayers to those who have to experience this right now. And yeah, hello, Mr. Mister. I see you in the chat. How was my week? Well, my week has been crazy. Work was crazy. We had a restructuring at work,
Uh
and several of my colleagues got let go yesterday.
oh.
Then we
That's
had a
tough.
meeting today about it, and I don't know if it helped to calm people's nerves.
Nope.
I think it's been interesting because, of course, anytime there's a restructuring, everybody worries about their job and job security and just the industry that we're in. There has been some concerns. I'm not worried for my job, if I'm honest, and it's not even being cocky. I've been through this before. I've been on the end where I've had to fire people, and I've been on the end where I've been let go. But I know what it comes down is to how much value do you bring to the organization, and do you bring more value to them than they are paying you? That's as simple as it is. People, if you've ever been in a situation where you get fired, that's actually how they assess it. They take a look at how much they're paying you, the value that you bring. And if you're bringing 2 to 3 times more value than you're getting paid, they'll keep you. If you're not, they won't. Like, some companies are very hardcore, but it's been interesting. I'm keeping my head down and doing what I need to do, but I always think restructuring is an opportunity for new and innovative ways to do things. So I will keep you guys posted on how it is. So Mr. Mister is telling us about his week, and I have the thing so far away, but he said, my week, I chilled in Denver for a day at a nice Brazilian steakhouse. He said a different one this time than the one he told us about the last time, and work as usual. I love a good Brazilian steakhouse. Have you done the Brazilian steakhouses, twins?
No, I haven't.
You have to. You have to. Like, the Brazilian steakhouses, they bring around, like, usually the ones I go to, they bring around like the different courses and the different meats. And
Uh-huh.
right there, they have it on a skewer and they'll cut it right there and put it on your plate. I don't know, Mr. Mister, tell me if the ones that you go to, they have the pineapple. So it's like this, almost like a roasted pineapple, and it's hot, and they put, oh my God, absolutely delicious. Different cuts of meat, just absolutely amazing. So if you're looking for like a good date night, a good Brazilian steakhouse is the way to go, because it's an experience. And then depending on the ones you go to, there might be dancing, a little compa, a little bit of that. So you get, some performances. But I love going to experiences, like restaurants, I should say, where I have an experience. I don't think I'm just there for the meal because I can cook. I made a bomb ass seafood pasta today. Listen, I wanted to hug and kiss myself when I tasted it. Like, I wish I could have hugged and kissed myself, because this was some bomb ass pasta. I made it with scallops and shrimp, and I had fresh tomatoes that I put in the garlic and butter sauce that I made the scallops and shrimp in, because I sauteed it for like 2 minutes, took it out, put the fresh tomatoes that I cut up and seasoned just a little bit, crushed those up, then put in some red pesto, boil that down, and put in some red wine, just a little bit of red wine, had that simmer down. Oh my goodness, it was fantastic. Listen,
You make
I
me
wanted
hungry
to
over
kiss
here.
my tongue. Huh?
I said you make me hungry over here.
Listen, I wanted to kiss myself when I was done with that food. I almost was like, I wonder if my daughter's going to come home and have leftovers because I'll have the rest or have it for lunch tomorrow. It was that good. So because I'm always experimenting with food, when I go to restaurants, it's all about an experience. So Mr. says his has no pineapple. He said that's a new one on me. No, go to the ones with the pineapple, just amazing. And generally twins, what they also do is that you have a card at your table. So when you're done eating, you actually turn it over so they know not to serve you anymore. So they're really not interrupting you. Like once you've turned, even if you're just taking a little bit of a break, you can turn it over while you're doing that break. And once you turn it back over. So the experience is great. It's no intrusion. It's a really nice experience. So I would suggest for a date night, anything like that, go to a Brazilian steakhouse. So,
all right, we'll do.
Yeah. So we have an interesting topic tonight, and I think I didn't pick up the cards, but I might do, depending on how this conversation goes, a little bit of the tonight conversation cards. I thought we got a little spicy the last time. It forces us to have some interesting discussion, so I might top that one off. But I do have a clip that I want to play. And I think one of the things about relationships today, and one of the things that I hear men complain about, and I think Uncle Kevin Samuels used to talk about a lot, is the fact that the women of today don't really have the role models that he feels that they should. And I've heard men complain about that as well, in terms of how are you being taught by your mother or your aunt or your grandmother or the social circle that you're with? What is the information they're giving you about dating and marriage and relationships? And I would actually say that I think if you are in a space where you do not have a good group of women around you, you can have a skewed concept of relationship. But I'd love your thoughts on that, twins. What's been your experience?
My experience on that? Not, I mean, not much.
But with dealing with women, if you felt like women didn't particularly have maybe the best messaging around relationship, either from their peers, their peer group, or from maybe meeting their siblings or elder family members.
Well, I mean, one thing when it comes to that, I look at the family, right? The brothers, the sisters, the aunts, the cousins, and see the group to see, if they're married or not. 'Cause that speaks volume. Because, most cases when people have relationship problems, they kind of lean towards on family first, or at least they should. But if I'm looking around and I'm seeing a bunch of single women, that's a kind of a red flag for me a little bit.
Mr. said there's a whole lot of simp advice like 90s R&B. Good night. As a fan of 90s R&B, I'm gonna have to shut that down, Mr. Leave Keith Sweat alone. Okay, let that man beg. Let him beg. But I digress. I agree with you. And I think what's interesting is a lot of us as women don't realize how much when a man is looking for a wife, that can potentially factor in. Now, it does depend on the man, but if you have a man who's intentional, if you listen to his family background and he comes from a two-parent home, or even if his parents were not married, his father was potentially active in his life, his mother, was a well-groomed, well-put-together woman, he's got siblings, and like you said, they're married, they kind of have a real good structure. He's going to take a look at that and see if you're worthy of even coming into that structure, right? Because I think those type of men know bringing a woman who's still unhealed, and we've talked about that before, and bringing her into that dynamic, it can create a bit of turmoil. And so I think even looking at friendships, men are evaluating us based on the friendships that you had. It's funny, as I was coming into the show, twins heard me pause the show I was watching, which was Pop the Balloon. I'm a little bit addicted to that show, but it was interesting because one of the questions the man who's in the position to pick asks the women is, How long is your longest female friendship, and why do you think that relationship has lasted? And that's a critical question that a lot of women don't necessarily get asked, or not a lot of men ask, but it's crucial. Tell me about that. Why is it that? Is it because they hold you accountable? Is it because you share common values and common goals, and they're the person who pushes you to be better? Like, what are the reasons? Or is it because that's your dog and you get to party every weekend and you're at the club? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, those answers are gonna matter. And so the clip that I'm about to show was interesting because, you'll see in this clip that the advice that this young lady's getting is a lot of advice that I find that some women did not get, and that's what's stopping them from being in a successful relationship. But before I go into that, Mr. said, you want my love. He's quoting the Keith Sweat song because I told him, leave Keith Sweat alone. So without further ado, let me play this clip. And gentlemen and twins, because I know ain't no ladies watching. Gentlemen and twins, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. And go.
It's simple. He don't like you. He don't call you. He don't like you. He don't keep his verb. He don't like you. He's inconsistent. He has someone else. He only calls you when he wants something. He's using you. He starts random arguments. He's cheating on you. He's not investing in you. You're not worth the investment. Never met his family. You're not the one. Been with your guy 5+ years. No ring. No marriage. He's still searching. You're a placeholder. Men are not complicated. They're very easy to know. Men don't talk with their words. They talk with their actions.
Twins.
Dang, man. Why she spilling all the tea? She hit everything on top of the nail. I can't argue anything that she said.
I couldn't agree more. I've said it on this show. I've been saying it on the show for the last 3 years. I said it about my own relationships with people I've dated, with people that I've been in a relationship with, about how much action is a part of a love language. I even had a show where I talked about the fact that love is a verb. It's not a noun in my world, because love is action. Love is someone showing up for you. Love is someone doing something that would be normally outside of their character, but for you, because they love you, they're going to do it. Love is protection. Love is guidance. Love is all of those things that we sometimes mistake love as this, well, he says he loved me, or she says she loves me, yet there was no action behind it. And everything she said to that person is actionable. He doesn't call you, he doesn't care. He's been with you for 5 years, he's a placeholder. I've seen many women who have been placeholders for men. Many. And those men turn around, meet the woman they want to be with, and bingo bango, in a year, in 18 months, that man got with the woman, got engaged to her, and married her. Like that.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I said
Go
this
ahead.
previously. I said this previously on the previous show, but I mean, the reason why we stick around, because y'all allow us to stick around. Y'all don't put any pressure on us. Y'all don't, if you want that relationship, you're not putting pressure on it. You let him just sit back and just do what he want. And then once he, like you said, you're a placeholder. And then when you meet that somebody, then you're mad because he gets married 2 months later after y'all been together for 5 years. It's like, well, what? Hi, like it's not that he was cheating on you. No, it's the fact that the person that he wanted, or not wanted, but the person that came by that made all his requirements or made him think differently, wasn't you, and it was her.
Listen, you dropped the mic on that one, and that reminds me when it's the end of the year, I'm gonna decide the top 12 or top whatever. That clip is definitely gonna make it. Twins dropped the mic when he was like, the reason we do what we do is because you allow us to. Very simple and straight to the point. That pissed a lot of people off because it's so true. But on the other end, here is the question. Because there's a lot of women who feel that requiring you to do something is pressure, and they don't want to pressure you, because if you really want to do it and you really love me, you're going to do it. So I'm going to sit back and wait for you to do it. What about that approach?
Which I fully understand. So it's not that you're constantly nagging him, saying that, well, I'm gonna give him a ring, well, I'm gonna get a ring. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll have conversation, you just talk about it. I'm not sure how to say it because I don't want to give you the cheat code to it. But you have to be you have to be intentional with the conversation as far as what you want in a relationship, right? Maybe ask questions like, so what are we? Or what's our next plan for the next 5 years, next 7 years, or where do you see us, right? And
Interesting.
if you're saying like, oh no, we just was going with the flow, that's your red flag right there. Going with the flow. 5 years later,
go with the flow, man. I'm not flowing with you. This is not a river. This is not a stream. Okay, I'm not flowing with you at 44 years old. There is no flow. Okay, other than my aunt flow. But I digress. Mr. is saying, I would also say, if he's with you for 5 years without without marriage, he says no way how marrying her specifically will improve his life.
That's true. I mean, because pretty much without the whole paper and ring and everything, you're technically married if you're already shacked up together in one house all this time. So he's getting everything as far as what a marriage is. And let's be very clear, ladies and gentlemen. Once you put the ring on the finger, nothing magical changes. The man's not going to act different. The woman's not going to act different. You're still going to be the same. The only thing changes is that your name changed, and that's it. And you got a nice shiny ring. That's it. They're not going to talk to you nice. You're not going to get more. Matter of fact, I digress.
You were about to say you're about to get less sex.
I saw a post online is that what did it say? It was a guy, as a post said, when you get married, it's harder to get sex versus you being single. Yeah, it's harder to get in-house kitty, right? When you're married somebody versus being single.
That was definitely not the issue in my marriage. So let's just say
we're not speaking absolute. We're just saying.
No, I get it. I definitely and I always wonder why that changes. Is it comfortability? Do people just get comfortable? Is it you get into a routine? But part of your routine should be sex. Like, that's a conversation I'm having beforehand with my significant other, my fiance. How many times a week, how many times a day is reasonable for you for have sex? Now, I understand things happen as women, time of month, blah, blah, blah. But to me, if I have to sit and go, when's the last time I had sex with my husband? That's way too long, right? For me, a day or two without it, okay. But 3, 4, 5, once a month, we're roommates. I just didn't, because for me, because I just said, again, love is an action word. Sex is an action. Sex is a way to show love. Also, food, like for me, cooking for my man, taking care of my man, giving him massages, rubbing his crusty ass feet. Some of y'all men's feet are crusty, boy. But it's okay. I put the whole cellophane thing and make sure that you got nice baby feet when I'm done with you. But like, those are all action things. And intimacy is so important. So I question, when you lose the intimacy, why is that? I don't know, men, if you've ever been in a situation where you've been in a woman and the intimacy was lost, what happened? So
you said what happened, like what caused it to
happen?
Yeah,
what happened to lose the intimacy?
You can get in the argument. It's like this, right? When you're in a relationship with somebody and committed long one, so marriage, like just dating, whatever, but y'all live together. When you're single, you get mad at each other, you just go home and you take a break from each other for a little bit, right? But when y'all in the same household, y'all just gotta deal with it, right? So if me and you had a heated argument, I'm not gonna. If we have me have an argument about whatever it may be, you're not going to turn around and bust up for me the same night. You still mad. It's not going to happen. You got to get in the mood. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what happens. People get mad at each other, don't talk to each other. They go to bed mad. You know what I'm saying? They may go for a couple of days, and guess what? In a couple of days, ain't no love happening, ain't no intimacy or nothing, because we're just not talking to each other. So it could be, and then kids, it's a lot of things to play in it. Or you're just tired, or you're time of the month, all the excuses.
I like that you ended that with excuses, because that's what I've heard. So I have certain rules. Like, one of my rules is not to go to bed angry. And I mean that. I don't care if we got to stay up till 3:00 in the morning. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm fine with needing a little bit of space and having some time to calm down or get into a proper headspace or whatever you need to do. But this going to bed angry, sleeping back to back, sleeping in different rooms, sleeping on the couch. My man does not pay bills for him to go sleep on the couch. Like, that's crazy to me, right? Like, all of those things, I think if you've got certain rules and boundaries in place and established for your relationship, I don't think that happens, because a lot of the times we're jumping into these relationships without talking about what happens in the bad times. Everybody's good when it's in the good times. But what happens when we have an argument? What happens if a family member disrespects one of us, right? What if my mother disrespects him, or his father disrespects me, or vice versa? What happens if there's an issue with the best friend? How do we deal with that? Like, how are we going to manage it and tackle it to ensure that our household is good, right? Like, those are conversations that I think we're often missing when we get into these very serious relationships, again, because it's the euphoria. It's amazing. But let's talk about when ish hits the fan, how are we going to manage it? And do we have the tools to manage it? Before we get to that, Mr. saying, my father never married my mother, but they've been together over 35 years. They do everything for each other. God bless your mama and father. That's amazing. That's beautiful. It's not for me. I'm going to be honest with you. That's not for me. I like marriage and I like the sanctity and I want the paper and God forbid the whole thing. So that can be for me. But I think if you have the relationship that works for you, I've always said that, have the relationship and the relationship dynamic that works for you. So I'm going to preach that all day long. And for some people, marriage just isn't it, but they don't mind long-term cohabitation. You just need to know what you're good with. And to Twins' point earlier, I think one of the things that, again, this is why communication, we talk about communication all the time on the show, right? This is why communication is important. You said something in terms of when a woman is trying to talk to a man and saying things like, where do you see us in 5 years? I actually don't ask that question. So I'm the type of woman who goes in and I'm very clear about what I want. I am in a place that I want to remarry. I am not doing this to be somebody's good time girl, okay? That is not me. I want marriage. I want security. I want all of that. Like, I want togetherness. So I'm very clear about that. As the relationship goes along, what I do ask men is, where do they see themselves in 5 years? Where do they want to be in 3 years? What are their plans? Where would they want to look? And I see if the conversation of us is in there. This is where I see us, honey. I see us living here. Now, if you just talk about he's going to be doing this and he's going to be going to Kilimanjaro and it's a lot of him, that indicates to me that he does not see me in that future. And that I'm wasting my time. Because if my conversation is in 3 to 5 years, I see us together building a life, building a business, all the different things that I've imagined in my life and my partner's with me, and he's doing his own thing and he's traveling all across the continent of Africa and Europe, just living his best life. I'm not in it. That tells me, ladies, he doesn't see me anywhere in his plans. So I don't ask him about where do we see, because for me, that's uncomfortable. Like, I think for some women that might be the approach, but that, from me, that's an uncomfortable way to go about it. But I do want, and I generally do want to know, where a man sees himself. And the reason I ask that question is because, for instance, I don't want to retire in North America. It's not happening. And so if my man is hell-bent on saying that I'm going to stay in the hometown that I was born and raised with forever, and I'm going to die here and be buried in this plot right here, that already says to me that we're not compatible, because I don't see that as my life. I see living on an island somewhere, having a house in maybe North America that we come back to, but our elder years are going to be picking mangoes from a tree, a fresh tree, like all of those things I envision. So I asked that question to see if we're even aligned. And then I also am listening out for if he says us and we and, my name in the conversation. What about that approach? Or is the direct approach more the better way to go?
That's a good approach. No, nothing wrong with that. Everything's spot on.
I love that. I love that. Gentlemen in the chat, we'd love to hear from you. So I think for the thing that we need to think about, because it's funny, I was having a conversation with my daughter today, just randomly. It was like a quick conversation, and I was watching Love is Blind, and one of the couples on the show was talking about getting married and she, having kids, and she said, the last thing she would want to do is, be pregnant on her wedding day. Like, she wants to make sure she gets married and then they plan out the baby. And my daughter was like, yeah, that would be the worst. I have no intentions of, having a baby before I get married, get married and then you have the baby. And I just thought, I've done my job. Hallelujah. Because one of the things I made sure to say is, Daddy and I did it this way, but this is not the way we intend for you to do it. The way we intend for you to do it is be married, settle, and have our grandbabies. I love you, but I don't know if I can support you if you decide to replicate what I've done. Because I remember the disappointment in my father's eyes when I became an unwed mother. And I was like, that's just not the life I want for you. And, I love when my daughter says to me, you know what, Mommy, like when she turned 21, she's like, Mommy, I cannot believe you were a mom at my age. Like, I couldn't imagine that. And I said, good, don't. Like, right. Don't imagine it, right? Like, this is not what I want for you. I didn't make all of the sacrifices and do all of the things to give you a certain type of life, to ensure that you were exposed to certain things, for you to turn around and make decisions that just are not suitable for where you want to go in life. And I think sometimes as mothers, it's important for us to say that to our daughters, right? Like, just because I did it and I survived it doesn't mean it's the way to go. I survived it because I had no other option. Because not to survive it and not to thrive would mean that you don't turn out to be the young lady that you are. And I look at my best friends, and we all had girls young. So ages range from 16 to 21. I had a child I was the eldest to have a child. Our children range from my daughter being the youngest at 23, and the oldest in the group of the children is 28. None of them have children. None of them are thinking about children, and all of them talk about being married.
That's good.
Before having children and settling down and what that looks like and trying to be in a healthy relationship. Because again, their mothers might have done it, but they've also seen their mothers work really hard, right? And do all the things that were necessary and make all of the sacrifices that were necessary. And they've all gone to school, and they all got educated and they have businesses, or like one of my nieces graduated law school. She's a full-fledged lawyer right now, like just doing amazing things. One has multiple business that she's running. My daughter is a competitive dancer that's done amazing thing and been on, national and international television. Like, the girls are just killing it. But it's because we instilled in them, even as aunts and as mothers, that yes, this is what we did, but we're not saying we did it the right way, because we didn't. We did not do it the right way. This was not the path, and this is not the path we want you to take. Even with my daughter's financial stability, like I've made sure you open an investment account. I talk about stocks with her. We've talked about what stocks to buy. By the way, everybody, you guys need to put your money in the stock of the company that makes Ozempic and Wegovy. They are going to revolutionize the healthcare industry. They are running scared of that company. It's called Novo Nordisk. I believe that's the name that you go under. If you got a Wealth Simple or one of those other accounts, buy that stock. It's about $125 a share. And the moment Wegovy becomes affordable for the masses, that stock is going to rise. Healthcare companies are scared. Anyway, I decided to take a moment to talk about that because that's important. But those are the conversations that, you know, I have with my daughter. Invest. Make sure you're utilizing your money the right way. Make sure you're taking a look at your credit. You know, like all of those different conversations that I think when you've gone down a certain path, you don't want your child to see that. So for me, I think it's difficult when I see young ladies who keep repeating the same generational mistakes. Because why? Your mom was a single mother. Grandmother was a single mother. You're now a single mother.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it's taught too.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. They're taught.
Elaborate on that.
It's taught, you know, go get your bag. You don't need no man. You know what I'm saying? That's why they go to college, get these degrees, and don't really focus on the husband until later on. So, yeah, it's taught.
You know what my daddy told me?
What did he tell you?
Go to school, get an education, so you can be a better helpmate to your husband.
That's fair.
It wasn't to go get a bag. It was just so that I would prepare myself. Because again, as an immigrant, when you're an immigrant and you've gone through it, you come to these countries for what is considered a better life. And part of a better life in immigrant families is an education. And we mean university degrees, not colleges, not 2 years. We go to university and then we can go to law school and all the different things that we're supposed to do. But that is to actually ensure that we are more valuable to our men, because again, you attract a certain caliber of man when you put yourself in that position, the way you speak, the way you interact, all those different things. So my father's thing was, yeah, go get an education, because one of the things he said is they can take a lot of things from you, baby girl, they cannot take away your education, right? So the man can try to take away everything from you, but when it comes to your knowledge, they're never going to be able to take that away. But it also puts you in a position that when that husband finds you, you guys can work together to dismantle anything that is in front of you, right? Now go get the bag and go be like, my father just was not that go be an independent. Like I like, honestly, he would like roll in his urn right now at this thought of like, oh, my daughter's out here trying to be an independent woman. Mr. Mitchell said, I would also say, don't wait too long to get a husband. Get that done while you're still 20 something. Men start looking past women once that age starts with a 3. Accounting would be a valuable skill to a man in general, but especially to a man making a lot of money. I agree. My father wanted me to get an MBA, and now that he's passed away, I still think about it. If I should go and just do my master's in honor of my father, but I don't know. So we'll see. That's another story for another time. But I think that's a good point, Mr. Mister, right? Do you have a skill that's valuable? And listen, this is not all about getting a husband, but the reality is, despite what you guys hear on the podcast and the women talking about the independence, a lot of them are full of shit. It's a good soundbite. When they're at home, getting their DoorDash delivered to them, for one, that they're opening, sitting there at their dining room table, for one, with no man, with nobody to tell about their day, and then they call their married best friend or their involved best friend or their cohabitation best friend that they can't talk to because she's busy with her husband or her man, and then she's lonely. She hates her life. This is why I'm saying people go to these parts of the internet and I'm like, I'm gonna tell you the real. It's not true. They're lonely. They're full of shit. Pardon my language. A lot of these women are full of shit, but a lot of women are holding other women down because the moment we say we need a man, I want a man, or a combination of both, we're called pick-me's and all of these different things. Like, I think it's just the narrative that's being pushed in the mainstream is not actual factual.
Makes sense.
I'm sorry to burst it to you. Like, it's the truth. Mr. saying Kevin Samuels always said when women are in college, that's the last time she's gonna be around many upwardly mobile eligible bachelors. So get your get your Mrs. degree too. You know what's so interesting? That is what a lot of Caucasian mothers, Asian mothers, Indian mothers teach their children, especially the Caucasian ones. They tell their daughters, go to school and find a husband. Get your education, girl. Oh, great. But find a husband. A husband. Period. Point blank. And I've heard stories from exes who were, the big black stud in school, and the white girls would give them oral, but they would never have sex with them because they didn't want them to ruin them for their future Chad. Tyrone, you're not going to ruin my vajayjay for my husband Chad, who is going to be potentially the next governor of wherever. We're not going to do that because Chad is either waiting for them back home in their little town or whatever it is. Like, when I've heard these stories, and these are real stories, like I've heard guys tell me over and over again, like, yeah, the white girls used to give head, but they would never let us have sex with them. And they were plain up saying, nope, sorry, I need to make sure that when my husband comes along, which ain't gonna be you, Donovan, okay, that I'm good for him. Because they were good, or for good or for bad, they were told that they were going to be whites.
It starts at home. It starts at home. It's that simple as that.
And being a wife is seen as a badge of honor.
You said
it's not like slavery. It's a badge of honor. Sorry, I cut you. Sorry, twins.
No, you cool. No, I was confirming. You said it's a badge of honor to be a wife, right? Is that what you said?
Yes, it's a badge of honor.
Okay, let's make sure. Which is true.
It's a badge of honor.
No, and you're 100%, 1,000% true. I'm only gonna ask a question because I hear all the time that I'm a single mother. I do XYZ. I do XYZ. So they hold on to the single mother like it's a badge of honor. Like that's something that was, good. Congratulations. So yes, being married is a flex. Claiming and being proud to say I'm a single mother, not a flex. It happens, but I wouldn't brag on it. I wouldn't make it. That should never be a talking point.
Do you know the conversation I recently had in my friend group? And it was about, listen, we had children young. I just described that was between the ages of 16 and 23. And we're luckily all success stories, and so are our children. Amazing success stories. But we were sitting around having a conversation about the fact that, we watched someone who had a child young, who then chose to have a child later in life and is now a single mother. And we were like, is she dumb? Like, literally, we're like, why would, it was one thing when we were 17, 18, and 21, but now you're 30 odd, you've gone through the experience, it sucks shit, it's not fun, it's not a badge of honor, it's tiring, it's exhausting. It's exhausting doing everything by yourself. And we looked at this person who chose, because it's a choice, right? You can choose to have other options of not becoming a single mother. You can choose that.
That's true.
Choice. Made a choice. It's not like you got married and got divorced, and even then, you're a divorcee. You're not a single mother, and so we need to stop like putting out the word single mother like it's a flex, like you said, because it's not. But this person we know chose. Like, girl, you chose. You are unmarried. You've now had another baby, and you're operating again as a single mother. And we were like, oh, hell no. What kind of what? So it's not a badge of honor. It is not a flex. It is not something to be proud of. It is not any of that at all. Mr. has a couple of points here. So he says, I agree but disagree with that advice because he also tells the men not to date anyone until you're 35 and focus on working 60 paid hours a week and stock your money up. They conflict with each other. So he's talking about the previous thing he said regarding Kevin Samuels and saying that a woman should get married in their 20s. But the thing about it, Mr. I think why Kevin Samuels would say that is he always felt that men should date younger and women should date older. So that 35-year-old man in his mind was marrying a 20-something-year-old woman. So Kevin Samuels never saw it as a 35-year-old man was going to marry a 32-year-old woman. He always saw it as that 35-year-old man was essentially going to marry a 26-year-old woman who was young enough to give him the multiple children he may want, but then he was established enough to be able to take care of that woman and those kids if it ever came down to it. So that's where, again, I've watched almost every Kevin Samuels show that there is. So I think that's where people were like, oh, what does that mean? But it's because he never saw them marrying the same. He would give women the same advice. Like he would say to a 20-something-year-old woman, look older. Like you need to look older because if this is what you're looking for, guys at your age are just not in that space. Mr. also says single mothers have it easy here in America. In Asia, unless she was widowed, a lot of those countries see single mothers as trash, not trash.
But he's definitely correct on the first part of it.
Now, here's the thing. For me, coming from a third world country where there is no social welfare system, I couldn't agree more. If you have a baby in Jamaica and you don't have nobody to help you take care of the baby, there is no government assistance. There is no government housing. There is no food stamps. There is no whatever there is. You have a baby and you better find your grandmother, your grandfather, your mother, your cover, the whomever to help the church. The church actually does a really good job in a lot of third world countries in helping, get them school supplies and all of these things. And we call them nappies, not Pampers. And all of those things together. It's the church that ends up being our social welfare system. We do not actually have an infrastructure for that to happen. So you don't tend to have a woman who's like, oh, great, it's a flex to have, 4 or 5 kids with 4 or 5 baby daddies because I can get stuff in the system. That's generally not happened, at least in my generation in Jamaica. I can't say with the new generation, but like my grandmother had multiple children, but that was with my grandfather. And she had multiple children. I want to say my grandmother had maybe 7 or 8 kids with my grandfather, but my grandfather also had a very established business where we came from. So he could afford for my grandmother to, he also had some other kids, but that's another story for another day. But he could afford all them kids, right? It wasn't that my grandmother was out there just having babies because she knew that the system was going to take care of that. And I've asked this question before. If there was no social welfare system, would that eradicate the number of single parent homes that there is? Again, doing it once is one thing. Doing it multiple times, it's now an actual choice.
Right.
But that's just, my thing. Anybody else out here? Anybody else out here who has any questions? Because Mr. is bringing it tonight. He's saying, yeah, but how was she supposed to marry a 35-year-old man who was still in college? Here's the thing about that. The man isn't in college. What ends up happening in some of these situations, Mr., is some of these women are marrying, are meeting their professors I don't know what you guys call it here, but it's like it's the God, what do we call it here? They're not on the faculty, but they help the professors. I forgot what the name is. I'm so far removed from university, but it's like the intern teacher or whatever, right? They meet people going to seminars, right? Like some of the advice that you get is clearly when you're a young woman, go to business seminars and go to all of these different seminars and meet the people that are there. What outings are you going to? You know what I'm saying? Like, what lectures are you going to? All of those things that you're going to. So he isn't in college. She may be, but also for some of them who do meet in college and they're the same age, that also works, right? Depending on if you're going to grow up together. But once you're out of college, what social circles are you in? So that was his big thing. Yes, if you don't find them in college, try to find them in your social circles. And one of the big places that women were talking about going to find a husband was the Democratic National Convention. Someone literally talked about go to the Democratic National Convention if you're looking for a husband, ladies, because all of the eligible Black men were there. They were there. They had businesses. They were, you know what I'm saying? Like in DC, they were doing the things. Right. It isn't a hookah bar. It's at these places where those type of men are. So it's, again, where do you decide to put yourself? That's what I say. Royce Monroe says, great show, y'all being too nice today. We are about to get to the Tonight Conversations. Royce Monroe, Claire, do you like it when it's a little spicy? So we're going to get a little spicy, but we're trying to help the people out because the show is advice your mama should have gave you. And this is advice people's moms should be giving them. If you want a certain type of man, you have to be in those places where those men are. So don't tell me you want a good man, but you're going to the club thinking that's where your man is. Don't tell me you want a good man, but every weekend you're at a hookah bar. Don't tell me you want a good man, but when's the last time you picked up a book?
Message.
So, since Royce Monroe wants some spice, we gonna give him some spice. Let me get my Tonight Conversation cards.
Have to pull the cards out. You asked for it, so you know what's coming next now.
Right? Like they're asking for it. So let's do it. Let's get these cards up and running and see how many questions we can get before we end it for the night. And Royce Monroe, since you got so much to say, do you have any questions you want to ask us on this Relationship Chronicles show that we can answer? I'm going to give you a moment while I shuffle up these cards because I know you guys like these after dark topics. So we're going to give it to you. Let's see what I pull first. True or false? There are not enough quality Black men to match the number of quality Black women. Defend your answer. Royce Monroe wanted spicy. Here you go. Let's go.
Good quality. I'm gonna say false. And the reason I'm saying false because if let's say everyone was, good quality. If every man marries a woman, there'll be leftover women. So that's why I say false, just on that premise alone. Regardless if the men are good quality or not, if every man met they match and they linked up with them and they whatever, there will still be leftover women with no man to go with.
So I would be curious to know what these people consider a good quality man. That would be my first question, is define quality, right? Like, what do you define as quality? Is quality based on his height? Is quality based on how much money he makes? Is quality based on his family dynamic? Is quality based on his intelligence? First of all, define to me what quality is, and then I'm better able to answer that question. If it's just a plain question, I would also have to say false, because I am surrounded by good quality Black men. I am surrounded by intelligent, mature, grounded, spiritual men who are open and ready for wives who are either already married or put themselves in a position that they are ready for a wife. So it is about going back to what we were actually just saying. What environment are you in to meet these quality Black men? And are you really the quality Black woman that you say or think you are? That would be my question. Royce Monroe also says false. He says men date down and women date up.
That's also true. Can't argue that.
Mr. says if quality is based on height, then almost 90% of men on the planet Earth are invisible to women. I will not comment on that because I feel like shots were fired at me, Mr.
That is true. That is true. Don't think that you're not the only woman. You're not the only person out there that wants a good guy at a certain height. Something that we can't control. So that's a fair assessment.
Listen, I own it. I own that I like a tall man, and I love the fact that these tall men love me back. So let me be. Moving on. Next question. I know it's not personal, Mr. I just like to jab at you a little bit. And we were just talking about this. What's the longest your significant other can say no to having sex before it starts affecting the relationship?
How long?
Yep.
A week.
I'm right there with you. The moment I read the question, I was like, a week.
A week.
Any longer than a week, we gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
7 whole days. 7 whole days.
Not Tony Braxton.
Okay, let me bring up some Tony. So, Mr. said, Mr. I'm actually done with you for the night. Are you looking what Mr. said? He said 5, maybe 6 minutes. Sir, go to bed. Okay? Go to 5, maybe 6 minutes. No, I'm about 7 days. I'm a full week. I'm going to start questioning, first of all, are you still attracted to me? What's going on? Then my mind might start going into other places. Are you having sex with somebody else? Like there's all of these different things that are going to start entering because, again, my husband is going to understand that my rule, if it's not every day, it's every other day. We need to at least be getting it on 3 to 4 times a week. My preference would be twice a day, in the morning and at night before we go to bed. But if things get busy, because I date busy men, he needs to be putting it on at least every other day. Put down, turn it around, whatever we need to do. So no. Next question. Can a person be genuinely in love with their partner and still cheat?
I think we answered this question already, and I'm gonna say yes for the men because we're not emotionally attached. Like if we step out with somebody, once again, not absolute, okay, not absolute. We're just saying most men can step out and cheat, and don't mean anything to them.
So I'm going to answer the question a different way. Do I think that they can love you? Yes, but I don't think that they respect you. There is something about respecting the sanctity and boundaries of your relationship that would stop you from cheating, you hope. Now, there are circumstances that happen. You're drunk, out of town, blah, blah, blah. Things go down. Okay. But when you're conscious of the choice, love, yes, respect, no. And this is why, for me, love cannot be the only basis of why I marry someone. We must have just this good, strong foundation built on so many other things other than love. If I ask my man, why do you love me? And he just comes up with some BS about how pretty I am and blah blah, he's already not for me. Like, I want to hear some good, because we have a strong level of communication. And when we had this argument, I noticed how we were able to delve in it and fix it and start the loyalty and the respect. So like all of these different things that like actually make up a strong relationship. So yeah, you can love me and cheat. My ex-husband loved me a lot, cheated a lot. He definitely didn't respect the sanctity of our relationship. So that's my question. Twins, did you want to add something else before I move on?
No, you can move on. I don't have nothing to add to that besides what I said earlier. Yes, we can.
Oh, this is a different take on what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. True or false? Marriage doesn't offer as much benefit to women as it traditionally used to. Defend your answer.
That's false. That's false. Yeah, I benefit from everything in the marriage. That's false. No, false.
Here's a question. Do women benefit from marriage, or do they benefit from divorce?
That's a good question. I'll say definitely benefit from divorce as well, but also even in marriage, because if you're a man who don't want to get divorced, you're gonna do everything necessary to prevent that from happening. So you still got the chain and ball on with the back of your mind. I can lose half all my stuff if I don't do X, Y, Z. So I'm gonna get myself together and make sure I do X, Y, Z. So it's you.
Mr. says women benefit from both. He's not right. Like, listen, I definitely think marriage has its benefits. I would rather be married right now than divorced. For me, divorce didn't have any benefits. It was me not being with the man that I vowed to marry, and having to go through the turmoil of the divorce and having someone else determine if I could be legally single again. Like, there was no benefit. Unlike most women, I didn't want any of my husband's pension or any of that. Being in the military, I didn't work for it. For me, I didn't think I deserved it. I didn't earn it. I'm a person who, if I earn something, then I get it. I didn't earn that. For me, like, I would rather be married. I think there's a lot of benefits to marriage. So I would disagree that I feel like women absolutely do benefit from marriage, but that's just me. Okay, a person you love only likes you in return. Could you have a friends with benefit relationship with this person? Why or why not? So I'm going to repeat. A person you love only likes you in return. Could you have a friends with benefits relationship with this person? Why or why not? I'm going to go first. No. Why would I do that to myself? Why would I give myself to a person I love but only likes me? What do I think the end result of that's going to be other than pain and anguish? Twins.
I'm gonna say yes.
Oh, good Lord, of course you would. Go on.
Because yes, yes, of course I want the relationship with the lady, right? But right now she don't want that, so she do want to have the benefit of being in some type of relationship with me. And what I've learned of the years being a single guy back in the day, a bachelor, is that if you're having sex with this woman all the time, and I mean all the time, and you putting that thing on her, she gonna get dickmatized, and you gonna get what you want eventually. Okay, it's only a matter of time. So she might, because what I've learned that not most, but women, men, we can sleep with multiple women with no problem and catch no feelings, but y'all, if the guy, like I said, if he knocking out the park doing this thing, trust me, you gonna catch emotions. You gonna fall in love with him, and he gonna get what he want, and that's you. That's my argument, and I'm standing on it.
You can not him jumping the bike. Listen, I'm just gonna let you have that one. I ain't even gonna say whatever you want to say. We're just gonna move on. We're gonna move on. During what stage of the dating process do you cut off all other sexual partners? All others?
You said at what point do we cut off the others?
During what stage of the dating process do you cut off the rest of your sexual partners? I'm like, all others? Why is there a bunch?
Well,
Yeah.
it's not that it's a bunch. So that's a great question. So let's go into that for a second. So if I'm single, so right now I'm single, so I'm talking to multiple women. Now I might be sleeping with all of them, but I'm talking to multiple women. So if I started talking to you today, today me start talking.
Yeah.
I was talking to other females before you, right?
Correct.
And I don't know where we're going in this relationship as we start talking. So I don't know, to answer the question, I'll start cutting them off once we become official. If I'm not official with you, then I still got my team just in case.
You and this damn team. Okay. Okay. But you know what confuses me about this question? It's like all other sexual partners. So to me, you're just sleeping around at this point, right? You're slurring. You're slurring around because there really should not be that many, right? Because for me, within about 2 to 3 dates, I know whether or not I can tolerate you enough to be intimate with you and whether this is going to go any further. I know through conversations, I know through whatever. So it doesn't take me long. So that means that you're going out on a few dates with different people and already dropping it low and bending it over, like, ew, for me. So for me, the moment you start having sex with one, you see where that one goes before you start giving yourself to another. That's just me. I want to hear what Mr. has to say. He says, I only do one at a time so I can answer that. I'm not good at multitasking unless I'm only looking for sex. I'm with you. That's me. I can't do because again, it's just some man sweating on top of me who doesn't care about me after he comes. Like, I'm just not, oh, and then oh no. Women, we need to not, because again, it's different for you're entering us. We're receiving you. It is a whole, like I think about it from our side, it's a whole different scenario. So just to be entered by, no, thank you. I'm good. Okay.
But also, how would you know?
I would hope we would be honest enough with each other. I would hope. I'm not saying maybe I live in la la land. But I would hope. I'm the type of person who trusts but verifies. Like, that's because I think for me, because traditionally I've been in long distance relationships and I have not been close to where my partner is to be able to know whether or not he's actually saying whatever he's doing. I have to trust that. So I bring that into dating situations, that if we're having conversations and we're being open with each other and we're being, that you would say to me, yeah, I've had guys who were very honest with me. Listen, Toshiba, I like you, but understand that I'm dating, which means that I'm having sex with other people. And depending on where you and I go, then, I will consider what that looks like with you and that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of open honesty I like, because then I can decide, is this something that I can deal with? So, because for me, I'm good. You want to take me out and get to know me and have sex with them? Good for my vagina. You know what I'm saying? Like, my vagina is not being used. There's this. While I get the benefits of getting to know you, good. I need somebody to keep these men occupied when I'm not giving them sex. It works for me. I'm not the one to do it. That's just me. But I digress. This question. An engaged couple breaks up for 2 weeks, but quickly reconciles. Just before the wedding, the man finds out that he got another woman pregnant during that break. What happens next? You better go be with your baby mama.
Oh, that's tough. That's tough.
I'm not doing it. I love and I desire to be married, but I could not imagine my fiance turning around and say, those two weeks, not 2 months. Those 2 weeks we were apart, I dove right into another woman's vajayjay without a condom and got her pregnant. Now you're about to be a stepmommy. Surprise! Thank you, Royce Monroe, who makes these cards for real. Mr.
Right.
Mr. said he's cooked, but these are apparently realities. I don't know, it ain't my reality, but it's somebody's reality. And goodbye.
It happens. It happens, and it happens.
What say you, twins? What say you? What happens next?
What happens next?
Yeah.
So based on the card, I find out before the wedding that
2 weeks before the wedding, you find out. Let me confirm. 2 weeks before the wedding, you find out.
I mean, ooh. Well, it depends. See, this is why the scenario can be real, right? Are you sure it's mine? And what happened is, I'm saying, but so what happened is, this happens a lot because people wait till the whole process is over, then they get a DNA test, and then at that point, which is 9 months later, and you're already married now, you and your wife and whoever got to make a decision what you're going to do going forward now. Because, all right, the child is mine. So this does happen. It does happen.
It happens. It ain't happening to me though, because I don't want your baby.
I understand. I mean, it just, the scenario is a case by case for each one. Some people be like, you know what? You're gonna take care of your child. We're gonna get through this. Or some are like, I'm done. I'm out of here. So it's really hard to have a clear answer on this one. So that's crazy, but I don't have an answer.
If my boyfriend is watching, babe, no. I don't want your baby. Okay? So don't you dare try it. But I digress. A man has a side piece, but claims he loves his wife with all his heart. Is this possible? Explain.
Yeah, we just answered this already. Yes.
Here's the thing. Cheating and having a side piece are two different things. Because you can cheat in Vegas and never see that woman again. But a side piece is a commitment. That's text messaging, that's dinners, that's staying over her house potentially. Isn't that what a side piece is? Never been a side piece. So I thought that side piece, but does a side piece get time?
Yeah, but it's still the same thing.
I mean, it's cheating.
It's still cheating, right? It's still cheating, but we don't get attached. Most men don't get attached.
I'm gonna leave that there. And Mr. was like, already answered. Move on.
Right. It's
He's like, we're done with that. He kept saying, our dicks are not connected to our hearts. What are we talking? What are we talking about? I saw your comments. I saw your comments, Mr. This is an interesting one. It is still about cheating. There's some hurt people who make these cards, but this one's interesting because I want to hear all the men watching and in the chat and twins. Tell me about this one. True or false? It's worse when women cheat. Defend your answer. So again, true or false? It's worse when women cheat.
Yes, it is worse. It's worse because y'all emotional cheat. That's why. We just cheat to bust that nut. Y'all cheat because whatever situation's going on at home, you could be frustrated, you could be upset, bills, the guy, the kids, whatever, something's going on is making you work, whatever it is, something got you stressed out, and you start having this conversation with this other person, and y'all get real deep, and you have the emotional attach, and then you have sex with them. Women can, not all women, I keep saying this, most women can go out there and sleep with multiple men. And if they do, that makes them a hoe. So that's why I said he can't do that. See, guys, we can do that. We're a host, and we're okay with that. We can live with that. We will stay on top of the hill. I am a hoe. So what? But I don't love that hoe. I am a hoe. But anyway, I digress.
You're on one tonight, and it's hilarious. He says, I am a hoe, but I don't love the hoe. I would agree. It is true in my opinion. Because for me personally, if I'm gonna cheat on my husband, I'm gonna cheat up, not cheating down. I'm gonna one emotionally cheat because that's how you get me first. You get me emotionally, and I'm generally gonna cheat up. He's not gonna be just the guy on the street that I saw in the club. It's probably going to be maybe my boss, maybe a man that I met at a conference, at an event that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's someone that got connected to. It's in that way. Like, we're not just going necessarily to Vegas, getting drunk and jumping on some peeing, right? Like, it takes a little bit. So it would hurt my husband more if I cheated because I'm definitely cheating. Like, the person I cheat with is going to be better than my husband, in my opinion.
See, and you just answered the question. That's why it's worse, because you cheat up. I could be driving to McDonald's, see a cute girl, and how you doing? That's it. It don't take much for us. You could be walking through Walmart. Who's that? God damn, cheat. I gotta make sure he's higher than you. It could be my boss. Like, that's the insult. The nigga you not nigga, but the person you work with every day. All of a sudden, now you want to have a relationship with them. Yeah, that's a hurt piece. We call that emotional damage.
I mean, my CEO happens to be a woman, but I report to the CEO. So if my CEO was a man and he was a tall, 6'4", caramel to dark complexion black man with thing, and he was so intelligent, and we're together and having strategy calls and talking about the future of the company. What does that look like? That shit's sexy to me. So yeah, that's the man I'm gonna cheat on you with. It ain't the man of the club. It's the man that's talking about return on investment and strategic initiatives. That's the shit that turns me on. So cheat away. I be cheated. Mr. said yes, because you already told on yourselves. Cheating for women is far more than just sex. Emotions are attached to the patty woo-ha. You ain't wrong.
Patty woo-ha. Mm-hmm.
I just said it. And don't let him make me laugh. Don't let him tickle the funny bone. So tickle the intellectual part of me and then the funny bone. Oh no, patty woo-ha on things. So, but I am not a cheater. I would never cheat. If my significant other is watching, I am just saying, for the purposes of the show, what I would do, most women would do if they were in this situation. We're going to have two more questions, and then we are going to get to our dating advice for the night. So Mr. Please get your dating advice ready, because Mr. is like our third secret co-host. Is it possible to fall in love at first sight?
Yes.
Ooh, I am surprised you said that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. There's a girl that I saw. I mean, man, I wish I could hit the time table, time machine, go back in time. But I was really young. Like, this only happened, and this only happened once in my life. One time, I met this one girl. She walked in the crib because she's a friend of a family. I won't say too much because people know who it is. But anyway, she walked in the room and we locked eyes. I'm like, who that? I mean, I smiled the whole time. Couldn't stop looking at her. And then when she left, her cousins came over. Hey, so-and-so said so. Like, yes. To this day now, I wish I see this girl right now. I swear. But anyway, yes. For me, yes.
So Mr. saying, no, it's possible to think it's love, but it's actually infatuation. Okay, Mr. For me, I can't say that I've had love at first sight, but I definitely feel like I've had love after like a first conversation with someone where I spent hours with them on the phone just talking about just kind of everything under the sun and the ebbs and flow of a conversation. And I got off that phone and I was like, damn, and my heart was fluttering, and these feelings and that sensation. And for me, it wasn't looks. but it was the way they captured my intellect and the way they kept my attention and the way they created a space for me to be vulnerable and in turn was vulnerable with me. That shit was sexy. And I walked away and I was like, I think I love this man. So I've had that. And then clearly looks matter, but it wasn't about the site, it was about the conversation. So I definitely think it's possible. There's no timetable on love. So it might not be love at first sight. For me, it might be love at first conversation, but I don't think there's a timetable for love. This is a funny one, and we're going to end off with this one before our dating advice. So a woman shaves her head without telling her man. He leaves her because he no longer feels attracted to her. Is he superficial?
Yeah, that's superficial. He said, hold on, is this his wife or this his girl?
Just a woman, just says telling her man. So it doesn't say husband.
Okay, so I mean, so that's true. Then he can, yeah. If we ain't married, then you do something dressed like that, then oh well. Like,
do you think women should consult their husbands? And I'm gonna say husband, because that's where I want to go. Should a woman consult her husband before making a drastic change to her appearance?
Yes.
How drastic?
I mean, cutting your hair bald. That's true. Yeah, that's true. You know why? It's not the fact you got a bald head, but it's the fact that you know how y'all get so tired of a style. Now I got to buy a bunch of wigs now because you want to, you know what I mean? Now spending more money because at one moment you had the moment we want to be bald. Now you want hair again, and I got to spend all this money now to get wig put in. It's too much work. No. And then I got hair about it, complain about it. Nope. I'm done.
I'm with you. I actually agree. I think it's different when it's just your man. In terms of the superficiality. If it's your man, yes, I think it's superficial. If it's my husband, maybe the hair will grow back. Like I've chopped my hair and had hair where I only had like this amount of hair and then shaved at the side. This is my hair, and I actually trimmed my hair just the other day. I trimmed off maybe 3 inches off of my hair. My daughter did it. So hair grows back, and I know it grows back. So if it's my husband, but I would never make a drastic life decision like that without consulting my husband. I don't make drastic life decisions without consulting my partner. I just, whether it's a job change, you know what I'm saying? Like anything that I'm doing, we need to sit down and have a conversation because there's an impact on us. And I think that's a single behavior that single people moves. Like if I'm single, I can do whatever I want to my appearance. To your point, I don't want to have long hair anymore. I'm going to go cut it off. I can have short hair. Oh, I'm tired of this. I don't like the way it's growing out. Let me stop on a wig for a few months or put in some braids or whatever. But I wouldn't go ahead and go cut off my hair, my whole head, and not tell my man like that. I wouldn't expect him to be attracted to me. Not everybody looks great with bald head, but that's just me. So dating advice. Don't see Mr. Mister's dating advice yet in the chat. So which one of us want to go first? Which is your dating advice for the week, twins?
Dating advice for the fellas. Since we're talking about doing a drastic change, if you have a beard, do not cut your beard all the way off. And if you do, you better make sure you have you accidentally cut it wrong, and that's why you had to take it off because they will be so upset. Do not cut your beard off.
Listen, you just said a whole word. There is nothing sexier than a man with a beard. And especially as that man gets older in life and the gray starts coming in the beard. Gray is not sexy on us, but on a man with a beard, the things it does to our nether regions when you have a beard is next level. When a man doesn't have a beard, especially if he tends to have a younger face, it just doesn't do it for me. The beard, gosh, good Lord. My dating advice is be ready to date. be in the mental, emotional, and physical space, ladies, to be ready to date. Because if you say that you want a husband, you need to be prepared to be a wife. And I think sometimes we go into the dating sphere and we're not ready to date. If you go back to the beginning of the show and you see the clip that we played where the mother was explaining to her daughter how to find out when a man really wants you, when you are mentally, emotionally, and physically ready to be out there on date, you will see those signs without anybody having to tell you. But when you're in a space that you're seeking something that you feel you do not deserve, or you even in return can't give, then you find yourself being either taken advantage of or being put into situations that are not healthy for you. So make sure, again, you're mentally, emotionally, and physically, whether we like it or not, ladies, men are physical, they see with their eyes. And there's a reason they're out there calling some women big backs. They don't like that. Unbig your back.
Unbig your back. Get in the gym.
Unbig your back. Okay? Unbig your back and be ready for the men that you say that you want. Mr. His dating advice is create a dating profile as an average man and try online dating as a man for 30 days. It will answer a lot of your questions. So this is his advice for ladies. So I'm going to repeat. Create a dating profile as an average man and try online dating as a man for 30 days. It will answer a lot of your questions. That is diabolical. I don't think women want that.
You tell him the catfish, bro. You tell him the catfish. Just don't go through with it. But he does have a point. Like women, like I saw a clip where a woman said, "If I was a man, if I was a man for 30 days, what I'll do?" And then, but I'll get someone's butt. I'm like, yeah, I think it's that easy. You think we just walk outside and it just like fall on our lap? It's not that easy.
That woman, was she attractive?
I don't know. But it was this conversation. But it
just sounds like unattractive talk, because no attractive woman who understands the privilege of pretty privilege is ever going to say that you want to be a man thinking that you're going to get more ass. Because to Mr.'s point, most men in the world are of average height for a man, which is 5'9". It is very exceptional when a man is over 6 feet and then 6'3" and then 6'5", and further it goes. So most men are not walking around in 6'3.5" bodies. They're walking around in 5'9", 5'10" bodies as average men with average income. So why in the hell would I want to trade my place here as I flip my hair with all the privilege I get to be a man? Nah, I'm good. I'm good. When I can bat an eye 2 times and get what I want, no. So y'all can keep that. I will not be doing that, Mr. I'm good. I don't want to know what it's like to be a man. And I definitely don't know. I love you, my Black men. I definitely do not want to know what it's like to be a single Black man who makes average income. No, thank you. I'm gonna pass. So thank you, ladies. If you do try this, tell me how this experiment works for you. But Auntie Toshiba here, I'm good. We're good over here. Thank you so much. That's it. That's all. That's all she wrote, everybody. We want to thank you once again for joining us on our new night. Again, moving forward, the show is going to happen every Thursday night at 9 p.m. The link is going to be in the comment section. So if you ever want to join Relationship Chronicles series for season 6, please go ahead and join the link in the chat. So from me and twins, we will bid you adieu. Thank you for those in the chat. We appreciate you. Subscribe, follow, share, tell your mama and everybody about Fuck Your Feelings, because we are changing the conversation around Black relationships. Bye-bye.
Good night. Peace.
Bye bye.